It's crazy.
Donald Trump.
But forget about making it to November. Can Biden even do the job now? White House aides are telling Axios that Joe Biden is dependably engaged from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And after that, he checks out, prone to absent-minded gaffes and fatigue. But his campaign is doubling down in new ads.
I know how to tell the truth. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
And the First Lady is defending her husband in a glam new Vogue spread. She says the critics, quote, will not let those 90 minutes define the 4 years he's been president. We will continue to fight. First off, Greg, when your entire party is in meltdown mode, maybe you cancel the Annie Leibovitz family photo shoot.
No, that's too important. That's too important for these people. Dependably engaged. Does that mean he's wearing Depends? I have no idea what that means. And I just worry about the terrorists that are watching right now. It would be very rude for you guys to somehow attack us when he's not dependent.
Yeah, he was talking to the white supremacists. Like I know this is Greg Buttfeld's attempt at making a joke, but like, why would terrorists be watching your show, man? Like, the only type of terrorists that are watching your fucking bitch ass are literally the Proud Boys and shit. I don't know what to do with this fucking microphone. Oh my God, I'm so mad.
Engaged. So if you can call Canada beforehand, and then we'll get back. I'll just leave something on our voicemail, because I think it would be rude. You should refrain from attacking us when Joe is not dependably engaged. Remember, the media reacted in horror over Joe's condition, not because they saw it, it's because we saw it. I still think it's the worst scandal in political history. A party and a compliant media protecting a sham government run by a collection of progressive interests, and because they prefer that to democracy. It's just easier this way. And now they're shifting it back to like, well, Trump lies, Trump lies, Trump lies. There's no lie like this. It's not comparison. There's no comparison. And also, it pisses me off when I hear these journalists talking about how they were hoodwinked. This was like the most important job of your life, breaking a huge story, and you let it go right past you. I mean, this is worse than Watergate. You know, CNN said that every single day. Well, here it is. And they chose Stormy Daniels over this. How can anybody trust the news anymore? I mean, you didn't trust it anyway, but now you know their alliances and their biases prevent them from basically lying.
Okay, I can't believe I'm about to say these words, and this does not pertain to mainstream media on their foreign policy coverage. But the glaringly obvious difference between New York Times and Fox News is precisely what they're pointing to. Fox News never has and never will shit on Donald Trump until Rupert Murdoch gives them the order to do so. New York Times, CNN, and all these other outlets, on the other hand, liberal outlets, on the other hand, will every now and then, perhaps on accident, especially as it pertains to domestic politics, will do like what you understand is objective news coverage. Not to say that they're great, and especially not great when we're talking about foreign policy. But that's a real situation, and you can see it.
Gaslighting 300 million people. And look at all the damage that has been done under Joe Biden. Open borders, crime waves, homelessness, open drug markets. This is all products of woke Marxism. So it all flourished under the hood of Biden's presidency. He was the hood ornament, shiny and useless, but meant to run cover for a radical agenda. That is why they're fighting so hard, because they would rather have a headless president and still be in control.
Well, the other thing about it, in addition to all that, is that the news that came out of the family meeting was that they were blaming the staff. And they made it very clear. I mean, somebody called the New York Times from Camp David and said, we blame the people who did the prep. My favorite takeaway, Judge, though, is that there was somebody in the family, one of the grandkids, wants to take on a more active role in the campaign, including working with social media influencers. Like, that's going to do it.
You know, first of all, the idea that they would blame the staff, I mean, think about it. Who else are they going to blame? They're not going to blame Joe or Jill. I mean, of course they're going to blame the staff. And I think it's interesting that Jen Psaki's response to that is if you're directing anger at the prep for the debate, the aides, you're not addressing the right thing. Mm-hmm. She's got her priorities right. But, you know, the fact that all of those people that we heard from, you know, the senators, and they're basically saying, you know, this guy he's a great president. How can you promote a guy and be honest to your oath to the American people and the Constitution when you know that he is not engaged for more than 6 hours a day? When you actually saw that debate that we all saw, it's more than disingenuous. It is just un-American. This man, and Dana, I go back to what you said. This man has to be prepared at 3 in the morning to answer the question, what do we do now, sir? Okay? And he is not that man. He's not that man at 9 o'clock at night. We saw that. But you can't help but think that the reason the family is so into this is it's a dysfunctional family. 2 of these kids are drug addicts. Hunter Biden ends up sleeping with his dead brother's wife and hooks her on drugs. 9 of the Bidens have tens and hundreds of $1,000s in their accounts because of the work that Joe and Hunter did around the world. So, you know, politics is good business for these people. It's about them and not about us. Jill is so enamored with being the first lady, and every day you see her in these designer dresses, and today on the Vogue cover, a $5,000 Ralph Lauren dress. I mean, she's so into that. She spoke to Joe Biden, and she's the one who I blame this on. Like, after that debate that was cringeworthy and embarrassing, Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. It was like a kindergarten teacher with a bunch of 5-year-olds. And the fact that they're all gaslighting us, I think, is horrible. And I think that Joe Biden, and I say this in the best way that I can, he's a man who attained the top position in this country. He became president of the United States. He deserves, at this point, he loves the beach. He should be at the beach with his family, with his grandkids. But they don't want that. And don't let them tell you that it's about the country, because it's about them. And my last question, who's going to call for the 25th Amendment and who's running the country?
Well, they were supposed to have a cabinet meeting, but that got canceled. I can imagine why. So, Kevin, I have 100,000 questions for you, but I will only ask you a couple. One, the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago had a piece where they had 45 sources. Many of them were speaking anonymously, and maybe you don't like, maybe we all don't like that, you prefer them on the record, but you can understand why they didn't. And the reporters said, we stand by our story. Their editor said, we stand by our story. The White House and the campaign absolutely trashed the Wall Street Journal and these reporters. Yeah. Only then, a week later, to confirm to Axios that everything in it was true, but to add that the president's only dependably engaged from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I'm just curious about the communication strategy. And also, my other question for you is, it's like the Biden campaign and the people who are in power, Hakeem Jeffries, the people we saw there, are completely disconnected from the rest of the Democrats. Even